Worldwide, most of us use plastic pads to manage our periods. Did you know that these pads are bad for your health? They're costly, and they cause enormous pollution. When I moved with my family to Oroville in 2010, I met with my co-founder, Kathy. And she asked me whether I wanted to help to look for meaningful work for women with stitching skills. She had been making cloth pads, and it made sense to both of us because somehow cloth pads had also been throughout my life. Growing up, my mother stitched with girls in Sumba, Indonesia. And later, when I was studying in the Netherlands, my housemates were drying them on the central heating in our kitchen. And I went out to do field work in remote areas. I stitched my own because I knew I would not have access to products there. This made us to start Femme, a social enterprise that's based in Oroville. And we make washable cloth pads and provide menstrual education to girls and women from low-income backgrounds. I'd like to speak to you about 3 red threads in our work. One is health, the second is education, and the third is the environment. So why do you think disposable pads are bad for our health? Most brands are made with up to 95% of different plastics. In these, chemicals are found that are known to be carcinogenic, have an effect on your hormonal production, on your reproductive system. Many women experience rashes and irritations from them. This raises the question, why not use a material that our body actually likes, such as cotton? What are cloth pads? These here are made from soft, absorbent, organic cotton. They have wings that fasten around your underwear with buttons. They have a leak-proof layer that prevents the blood from seeping through. And most important, they're washable, so you can reuse them at least 75 times. When we started, we were interested also in what women in our area were using and how they were experiencing menstruation. We interviewed hundreds of girls and women, and this was a very important process for us because despite the taboo and providing a safe space to speak in, girls and women were very keen to talk about menstruation, to share their experiences, their anxieties, their questions. And this really this energy really motivated us to develop educational programs for them. So we do this with girls and with women and provide the pads for free to girls, and we ask women to pay a subsidized price. Now, we do this mostly in our area, through government schools, through women's groups. And we work with 40 partners throughout the country who are doing the same work in their own areas. In the sessions, we focus on what is menstruation, how does it work, how does it relate to fertility, what is a normal period, what's not a normal period, when do you need to seek for medical assistance, and what is it that you can do yourself to take care of yourself in terms of nutrition, simple exercises, herbal remedies to manage menstrual pains. In order to finance the educational work and the pads, we developed a hybrid model. So through our commercial sales to international and affluent markets, that surplus is directly funding the educational work and the pad distribution. The last part of my presentation is about the environment, and that's one that I'm particularly passionate about. Did you know it takes 500 to 800 years to decompose a plastic pad? This is forever. If you imagine what we're using in a day, in a week. In India, we have 355 million girls and women of menstruating age. So if we would all switch to disposable pads and say we use 10 pads every month, we would generate 42 billion pads that go to waste. These plastic pads cannot be recycled. They go to dumps. We burn them. So they create, obviously, enormous environmental damage. They also affect the lives of people who are living there on the dumps, who are handling this waste directly every day. Like, for example, unblocking sewage systems that have been that are stuck with disposable pads and other plastics. I personally was very shocked to learn that this man is actually doing this work going head under, and he has a life expectancy of 35 years. I mentioned that one cloth pad can be reused at least 75 times. So that means that that one cloth pad replaces 75 disposables. This year at Femme, we will produce around 240,000 pads. That times 75, we will replace 18 million that don't go to the garbage. And that always sounds like a lot to me, this number. But when I think of that 42 billion, it's just a tiny little droplet. So this needs to grow. And for that, we need you. I want to give 3 practical points that you can take to take action. One is break the silence. Share with your friends and family around what available products are there and how they're affecting us. We have at Femme 180 ambassadors who in their own communities go out and speak about sustainable menstruation. This is Prerna. She is a professional climber, and whenever she is going to the mountains, she makes sure that she speaks to girls that she meets there in the mountain communities. The movement is growing very fast in those few years that we have been active. Right now, there are around 12 menstrual cup makers, 14 different cloth pad makers, just come up in the last few years. There are many activist organizations. For example, in Bangalore, we have Green the Red, and we've got members of the Red Cycle. It's an India-wide network. And they do fantastic work on breaking the silence and on promoting sustainable practices. So, join us. The second point is vote with what you buy. Or better, vote with what you don't buy. Refuse plastics. That is extremely powerful. And the last point is switch to cloth pads. And with that, I come back to my 3 points. With that, you take care of your own health. You're supporting girls and women with access to menstrual education and the same pads. And you save the environment a lot of trash. Thank you for listening. Join the cloth pad revolution.